As you move around DraftSharks.com, you're going to see DMVP in a number of places. That stands for Dynamic Most Valuable Player, and it's at the core of really everything that we do. Matt Schauf, Alex Korf, Jared Smola here to introduce you to DMVP. Jared, it all starts with your baby, the award-winning player projections.
My baby, that's right, yeah. Fantasy football is a game based on player stats. If you're not doing player projections to come up with your rankings, you're just doing it wrong. If you're doing it based on feel, it's just not it's not going to work out for you, right? So we spend a ton of time doing detailed player projections for every draftable player in fantasy every season. It starts with team level stuff. How many plays is this team going to run? What's the run pass split going to look like? What are the coaching tendencies as far as that goes? Then we get into the more granular player level stuff. Target shares, carry shares, efficiency stuff, all to come up with these detailed player projections that fuel these DMVP values that we're talking about.
And it's been going pretty well. Multiple accuracy awards on those. Jared is currently one of the most accurate projectors on Fantasy Pros. And that's why DraftSharks was like, Matt, can you step back a little bit from the projections process? We're going to let Jared and his calculator figure this out. And then you can just come in and pick 3 players, argue them up, and then we'll tell you, stop it. We're going to go with Jared's numbers anyway. Alex, you're the engineer. So tell us about how the algorithm takes those projections and works with them.
Yep. Yeah. Algorithm, one of my favorite words, algorithm model, right? So they also keep me away from the projections, but this is where I can weigh in a little bit more. The algorithm, that's what we're going to look at, really the baseline and the relative value of a player against other players, against other positions. And that's all a function of your team, your roster scoring. So if you have 8 flexes, well, that changes the value of a quarterback, right? Or it changes the value of a defense. All of that matters and can be calculated algorithmically. So that's what really a lot of it goes into that constantly, every pick of your opponents, all of that, whether it's on the mock draft, which we have a mock draft simulator, practice makes perfect, make sure you're getting in there. But then it also happens on that live sync with real-time adjustment, as well as on the sidebar on your platform, whether you're in Yahoo or Sleeper. All of these calculations are going on simultaneously right behind you, and it's helping you make those right picks.
And thank goodness you're here, because I thought to this point that algorithm was a dance troupe. So, Jared, we got the algorithm, we got the projections, they're working together, they're in your draft. It's calculating things as you go, reassigning DMVP values based on lots of things going on, specifically 17 value indicators that are being calculated behind the scenes. Why don't you just give us a few of them? We're not going to take your time and name all of them. Just give us a few of what people can expect to be working there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest one is your league scoring system, right? We all know that players are valued differently in a non-PPR league versus a PPR league. But again, this is where projections are huge. What exactly are those differences in player value across these different scoring formats that the MVP board is taking that into account when it's calculating these DMVP values? Positional value we're going to consider, how is a running back compared to a wide receiver in your league? Team needs. You draft a quarterback and you only need to start one. Quarterbacks are much less valuable to you the rest of the draft. They're going to fall down the draft board. Player upside is the big one. We project a baseline for every player, but also a ceiling projection for every player. You can filter by that on your draft war room throughout the draft. You can turn on upside mode to really bump those high upside guys up your ranking. So player upside is being taken into account. On the flip side, bust risk, that's being taken into account as well. So all these 17 value indicators are going to impact that DMVP value throughout your draft in real time.
And as you alluded to, it's all going to differ by league format. It's all going to differ by what happens in your draft, by what you have, by what you need. So there are lots of factors that are going to make your situation specific to you. That's why the draft room is just for you. It's why it's synced to your league. It's why it's tracking your draft so it can adjust to what you need. And then, Alex, we're not going to get deep into it here, but we add a plus to DMVP for Dynasty. Why don't you give a taste of what DMVP plus means?
Yeah, so DMVP plus is my favorite because I play a lot of Dynasty, and that plus means plus. We're looking to the future. So Jared starts his projections, and he's looking at 1 year at a time. Dynasty's not 1 year. So we actually are probably the only site that I know that does a 3-year projection. No, there's others. No one does 5-year. No one does 10-year. We do. So that's what we're doing is we're looking at historic rates and things to look towards the future. But we'll get into that in a little bit more detail because we're going to talk about it a lot.
You can find full specifics on our Dynasty strategy. You can find a complete explanation of DMVP Plus. And ultimately, what you want to do is see it in action, because that's what's going to help you win. And really, that's why we're here. So now that you know what DMVP is, come see what it can really do. Click the link on your screen right now, become a DS Insider, and put the DMVP values to work for you.